Shalom Israel. Before I start, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Wahara Kakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles in Israel, the ruling teacher, to the Akims and the Iris and Byways and those pushing videos in truth and sincerity, to the brothers and sisters in the truth. Now, what I wanted to look at quickly is Genesis chapter 3. And it says, "Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord power had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, as the Most High said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High has said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die." So what's actually happening here? Because, coming from Christianity, they give this understanding that, there was an actual serpent. The serpent was a guy, a person, I put it that way, a person who had that spirit of a serpent, that deceiving spirit. Like you say, that guy over there is a rat. That don't mean he's a rat, but if someone's called a rat, that means they're a snitch. They're quick to talk against you. Yeah, and that's the spirit that this person had, that serpentine spirit, that deceiving spirit. Yeah, and it says, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden. So the serpent was saying, or I should say, Adam and Eve was told there's a particular group of people that you should not deal with because the doctrine that they bring, is going to bring death. And this is what we're trying to get back to now. We're trying to eat of the right tree, which brings us back to life, because the tree that Adam and Eve ate from, that brought death. The knowledge that they acquired from the serpent was a knowledge that brought death into us as a people, and into the sons of God. This is Sirach chapter 19 verse 19. It says, "The knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life, and they that do things that please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality." So what Adam and Eve had, they had a doctrine, a knowledge which brought forth life. Let me jump back here. Oops, back here. If I go to chapter 2, chapter 2 and Genesis chapter 2 and 25, it says, "And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed," meaning the knowledge and the doctrine that they only had the knowledge and the doctrine that brought life unto them. But meeting up this serpent now, that we read about in chapter 3, this person, the knowledge and the doctrine that they gave to Adam and Eve and that they took on brought death. And that's the state that majority of our people are in today when we go into Christianity. That doctrine only brings death. When we go into Islam, that doctrine only brings death. Egyptology, these are the main doctrines that our people are in. These doctrines bring death, and there's many other doctrines that our people are into that brings death. What we're trying to do in this truth now is stay on that path, that brings us back to the right tree, eating the right fruit, getting the right knowledge, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, which brings back to life. Because what we're seeking is immortality. So I'll read that again. This is Sirach 19 and 19. It says, "The knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life, and they that do things that please him," who? The Most High, "shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality." And that's what we're trying to do now. Come back to the knowledge that brings life, eating from that right tree, because this truth, this doctrine is, this knowledge and understanding is referred to as food. This is the food that we eat. There's that saying, food for thought. So this is what we're doing now, coming back to the right knowledge, eating the right fruits. That's going to bring us back to everlasting life. And it says, "And they that do the things that please him," because what the scripture says, obedience is better than sacrifice. So we're doing the things that please him. And let me quickly get this. We as a people, we're the ones that know what's pleasing to the Most High. Baruch, I believe it's 4. Give me a second. Baruch 4. Yeah, Baruch 4:4. It says, "O Israel, happy are we, for things that are pleasing to the Most High are made known unto us." So we as a people, we're the ones that know what's pleasing to the Most High. That was given to us, but we ended up losing that knowledge. Jeremiah 17:4, thou shalt be discontinued from thine heritage. So coming into this truth now, coming back on the right path, picking up the right doctrine, that's what's bringing us back to the tree of life. This is the fruits that we're eating, the fruits that will bring life. So I'll read this once again. Sirach 19:24 says, "The knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life, and they that do things that please him," who's that? The Israelites, "shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality." And this is what we're looking to obtain again, that immortality that Adam had before he ate of that fruit, before he took on that doctrine. Yeah. Now it says the knowledge of the commandments of the Lord. So this word knowledge.
Knowledge.
Yeah.
Knowledge.
It says facts, information, and skills acquired through experience or education. The theoretical or practical understanding of a subject. So this is what we were given, certain information, how to live and how not to live, and that was what gave us life. Yeah, that was the food that was given. Because when you quickly go to Matthew, get this slack here. Matthew 4, verse 4 says, "But he answered and said, It is written, man shall not live by bread alone," because we know we need food, water to sustain this fleshly body. But to sustain our spirit, we need a different kind of food. And this is the food that we need to sustain our spirit. It says, Matthew 4:4, "But he answered and said, It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Most High." And this is what Adam and Eve was given. The do's and the don'ts, which produce life. So when you read Genesis chapter 2:25, and it says they were both naked and not ashamed, they kept to the right doctrine. They were eating from the right tree. Now they've eaten from the wrong tree. That brought death, because it says verse 3, Genesis 3:3, "But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden," yeah, but of the doctrine from the people which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High said, "Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die." Now, I referred to tree as people. Let me quickly bring this out. This is Mark, men, trees, Slovakia. This is Mark chapter 8, verse 24. "And he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking." So when we go back to Genesis, it says Genesis 3:3, "But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden," yet we know this fruit is dealing with the doctrine, because this truth is referred to as food, the wisdom and knowledge and understanding that we get when we come into this truth. That's the food that sustains our spirit. This is Proverbs 9:1. It says, "Wisdom has builded her house. She has hewn out her 7 pillars. She has killed her beasts. She has mingled her wine. She has also furnished a table. Yet she has sent her maidens, she has sent forth her maidens. She crieth upon the highest places of the city." And this is what we do when, brothers go out onto the highways and byways. They're crying in the high places of the city, trying to bring our people wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, give them the right tree to eat from. Because when we're in the world, the things that we pick up, being a people that's discontinued from their heritage, we've started to eat from all different strange trees now. Trees that brings us death. The knowledge and understanding that brings life, we have lost. Let me quickly. This is Proverbs 21. See, Proverbs 21 and 16, it says, the man that wandereth out the way of understanding. Yeah, remember Surah 19 and 19, the knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life. That's what we as a people have wandered from. So it says, the man that wandereth out the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. So not eating from the right tree, that brings death. And this is what we're trying to do, bring our people back to the right tree, to the right doctrine, to right wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Where was I? Salakia. Proverbs 9, that's it. So Proverbs 9, and I read verse 3 again, says, she has sent forth her maidens, she crieth upon the highest places of the city. Going back to what I was saying, brothers out on the highways making videos, we're crying to our people, trying to show them the path back to the Most High, the right, the path back to the right tree. Because we're in the world, we're eating from all different trees, man, which brings death. It says, she has sent forth her maidens, she crieth upon the high places of the city. Now that brings another precept. This is Proverbs chapter 1. Proverbs 1 and verse 20, it says, wisdom crieth without, she uttereth her voice in the streets. She crieth in the chief place of concourse, in the opening of the gates, in the city she uttereth her words, saying, how long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity, and the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Yeah, the knowledge that our people hate is the knowledge of the commandments of the Lord. Yeah, the doctrine which brings us back to life. Yeah, we pick up all kinds of doctrine, like I was saying, of the world, which only leads us to death. And this is what we're trying to do, bring our people back to the knowledge of the commandments of the Lord that brings life, that right doctrine. So Proverbs 9 and 4 says, whoso is simple, let him turn in hither. As for him that wanteth understanding, she saith to him, come, eat of my bread, and drink of the wine which I have mingled. Forsake the foolish, and live, and go in the way of understanding. So this is what Adam and Eve done, man. They had right to the tree of life. That's the knowledge that they had. Yeah, mixing with this other people and taking on that doctrine, they now took on a knowledge which brought death, and they stuck with that, which is why now, we as a people die. It says, but of the fruit, Genesis 3 and 3, but of the fruit, get the doctrine, of the tree, the people which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. Now when we jump down to verse, look here. It's not something I was meant to go to. Yeah, Genesis 3 and 22. And the Most High said, behold, the man is become as one of us to know good and evil. So that lets you know that there's a doctrine out there which is good, and there's a doctrine out there which is evil. And this is what we have to do, come back to the doctrine that is good. Now, coming back to this word knowledge, it says, Surah 19 and 19, the knowledge of the commandments of the Lord. So that word knowledge,
knowledge, knowledge,
it says facts, information, and skills acquired for experience or education, the theoretical or practical understanding of a subject. And this is what we had, the information that came from the Most High. And that word information says facts provided or learned about something or someone. That's what we had, the knowledge, the information, the facts of the Most High, yeah, and His word, yeah, the right doctrine. Now we're in a state of mind where our people are into every wind of doctrine. Yeah, this is Proverbs 4 and 2. It says, for I give you good doctrine, forsake ye not my law. This is what Adam and Eve done. They forsook the good doctrine that they were given, picked up a different doctrine which brought death. And now we're trying to lead our people back onto the right path and give them the right food to eat, food that will sustain their spirit, that will give them life. Yeah. It says, Proverbs 4:2 again, for I give you good doctrine, forsake ye not my law. And let me quickly look up this word there. Doctrine.
Strong's H3948. Lekach. Lekach.
Yeah, so it says learning, teaching. Yeah, that goes back to the information or the knowledge that we was given. Yeah, it says knowledge of the commandments of the Lord. So doctrine, it goes back to learning, teaching, insight, instruction. Yeah, that's what was given. Instructions on how to live, the do's and the don'ts. Yeah, the right doctrine. And this is what this truth does. It leads you on a path which brings you back to the right doctrine, which brings you back to eat from the right tree. Psalms 25. Yeah, Psalms 25 and 4, it says, show me thy ways, O Lord, teach me thy paths. Yeah, this is what we want, the right ways. Yeah, that the proper knowledge, the proper doctrine. It says, show me thy ways, O Lord, teach me thy paths, lead me in thy truth. Yeah, this truth is what brings us back to the tree of life. Now, this truth is what gives us the right food and the right doctrine. So then teach me, for thou art, teach me. What was that? What was that I just had just a while ago? Yeah, doctrine, learning, teaching. Yeah, this is what we're to be taught, the right doctrine. Yeah, eating from the right tree. So I'll read that again. Proverbs 25 and 4. Show me thy ways, O Lord. Teach me thy paths. Lead me in thy truth and teach me, for thou art the power of my salvation. On thee do I wait all the day. So this path that we're going back on, this truth that we're learning is how to eat from the right tree, picking up the right doctrine, which is something which when we're in the world, we're not doing. We're eating from the wrong tree. We're picking up the wrong doctrines, and these things only bring death. Now we're trying to get back to life. Getting the right wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. That's why the scripture says, wisdom and understanding shall be the stability. Exactly. Before I bastardize that, let me just quickly do it. Exactly. Isaiah 33 and 6 says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. Yeah, so the wisdom and knowledge that we're going to have, that's going to be our stability. The knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life. We're going to have that right doctrine, that true doctrine. Yeah, that's the wisdom and knowledge that's going to bring us back to life. That's going to be the stability of our times. And it says, and the strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. And what is the fear of the Lord? Proverbs 1. Proverbs 1 and 7. It says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction, which is what happened to Adam and Eve. They despised wisdom and instruction, which was not to learn certain doctrines. Yeah, pick up those ways. And that's what we're doing now, coming back out, because that made there was a domino effect from them learning that doctrine. Now, as it said, the man is like one of us. Bring that out again, Genesis 3 and 22. And the Lord power said, behold, the man is become as one of us to know good and evil. Yeah. And now lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. And this is what we're coming back to now. Yeah. That knowledge, that right doctrine. Yeah, eating from the right tree so that we can get back that immortality, man. Yeah, Sirach 19 and 19 again, it says, the knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life, and they that do things that please him shall receive of the fruit of the tree of immortality. That's the path that we're walking now when we're in this truth, going back to that tree that brings mortality, keeping that right doctrine. Yeah, verse 20, the fear of the Lord is all wisdom. Yeah, and in all wisdom is a performance of the law and the knowledge of his omnipotency. Yeah, so this is what this truth does, man. It brings us back onto the right path. Yeah, which leads us back to the right tree, which brings us back to the right doctrine. Yeah, so just something I wanted to go through quickly. Hopefully there was some understanding in that. Someone was edified. And with that, I'm going to close out. Give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Haraka Kadash, Kwame Allah.